I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching Eagle News International on tonight's headlines. The chief emergency official of Maui resigns a day after defending decision to not activate warning sirens for island-wide wildfires. Federal investigators arrived to probe fire's origins, with the death toll surpassing 100, and the investigation unveils frustration and quest for answers. A landmark summit where President Biden hosts Japan and South Korean leaders, presenting a unified front amid escalation from North Korea and China. Kelowna, a western Canadian city of 150,000, braces for approaching wildfires, while efforts to evacuate Yellowknife up north transform it into an abandoned town in the face of encroaching flames. And Mexico prepares for a potent Pacific hurricane, prompting an unusual tropical storm watch for Southern California, where anticipated heavy rain and potential flooding loom. And as summer temperatures surge, Japanese businesses are stepping up to provide relief with creative cooling solutions. From jackets with built-in fans to chilled t-shirts, companies are addressing the growing demand to combat the scorching heat. Good evening and welcome to the program. As we enter this time of the year, the southern United States and the eastern regions are usually the ones vigilant for potential hurricane threats. However, in an unprecedented meteorological twist, Americans along the West Coast find themselves on high alert as Hurricane Hilary becomes a new focus. This major hurricane is charging northwards towards the Baja Peninsula. Parts of California are now under the influence of an extraordinary occurrence, the issuance of the first ever tropical storm watch for the state.
If you can look here at the satellite image, we're going to start in with a zoomed in a shot of the satellite image. You can really see a classic satellite signature of a powerful hurricane, now a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. But now this red area denoting a moderate risk, extending from Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, it is now within the action range. So we're thinking now that this rainfall potential is highly likely, potentially catastrophic flooding. Let me say that again, potentially catastrophic flooding for these areas highlighted here. We're in the action phase now, so you need to really start thinking about what you're going to do if you're in these highlighted areas. Specifically, late Sunday into Monday is not going to be a good time to be driving around. If you've got weekend plans, it's probably time to start altering those plans.
Hurricane Hilary, a formidable Category 4 storm, currently dominates the headlines. Although its strength is projected to diminish by the time it approaches the U.S., meteorologists emphasize the possibility of a direct impact on California later this weekend, and this being the first instance in 84 years.
I don't think any of us, I know me particularly, never thought I'd be standing here talking about a hurricane or a tropical storms. They're talking about winds up to 145 miles an hour hitting Los Angeles County. It's been 84 years since one came ashore, so it's a once-in-a-lifetime event that we're going to be experiencing.
While it's predicted to weaken, there's a chance it could strike California as a tropical storm, a scenario that hasn't unfolded in over 8 decades. As a result, parts of Southern California and Nevada are bracing themselves for the impending heavy rains and potential flooding.
Well, I've never been through a hurricane before, except for my only memory is actually Hurricane Katrina when we were in college in Alabama, so that's not a good memory to have in comparison. So yes, we're a little scared, trying to stay positive, and maybe a few shots of tequila.
Aquí todo acomodando porque el agua sube hasta arriba y nos preparamos. Por ejemplo, ahorita ya cada quien se va, víveres, velas, todo lo que se necesite para estar preparados para lo que viene. No sabemos si...
Responding to the imminent threat, FEMA is strategically positioning personnel and supplies within the region. This proactive approach aims to minimize the impact of any potential disaster.
I also want to note that my team is closely monitoring Hurricane Hilary, which has the potential to bring significant rain and flooding to Southern California. FEMA has pre-positioned personnel and supplies in the region, and they're ready to respond as needed. I urge everyone in the path of this storm to take precautions and listen to the guidance from state and local officials.
And our broadcast tonight also touches on the news of the resignation of Maui's highest-ranking emergency official. This development unfolds amidst ongoing scrutiny of Hawaii's response to the massive wildfire that has gripped the region. The departing official's name is Herman Andaya, and his resignation takes immediate effect, purportedly due to health reasons. This announcement comes a mere day after he defended his controversial decision to abstain from activating warning sirens during the wildfire's rampage across the island. His rationale was grounded in the fear that sounding the sirens could prompt coastal residents to flee towards the very flames that threatened their safety.
The sirens, as I had mentioned earlier, is used primarily for tsunamis, and that's the reason why many of them are found, almost all of them are found on the coastline. The public is trained to seek higher ground in the event that the siren is sounded. In fact, on the website of the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, the following guideline is provided. If you are in a low-lying area near the coastline, evacuate to high grounds, inland or vertically to the fourth floor and higher of a concrete building. Alerts may also come in the form of a wireless emergency alert. Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Mauka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire.
Public safety records reveal a recurrent pattern in Andaya's approach, as he consistently downplayed the significance of Hawaii's emergency siren system. From 2019 to 2021, he characterized the sirens as a measure of last resort in various meetings. The aftermath of the disaster has given rise to intensified criticism as survivors lament the absence of official alerts.
But yeah, I've pretty much everybody's saying the same thing, that we had no warning, no evacuation notice. So a lot of people were not prepared, you know, that by the time they find out that it was time to go, it was almost too late. You know, a lot of people got trapped. And
numerous survivors have recounted that they only became aware of the fire's proximity when it was already consuming their own streets.
It's just really sad.
Okay, there was no warning. Like I said, I was paying attention on my phone to the news, okay? Oh, it's so many hundreds of miles south. We're going to have some strong winds. It's going to play havoc with our trade winds. Nothing to worry about, okay? The next day, when the storm passed by, okay, all of a sudden, my apartment went black. I said, is it gonna rain? When we opened the door, it was orange from the fire.
Thus far, the identification of the limited number of bodies recovered from Lahaina remains a painstaking process. To aid in this somber task, experts in forensic pathology, including those who contributed their expertise in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, have been dispatched to Maui to assist with identifying severely burned remains.
Now, I want to be honest with everyone. This is also going to be a very long and hard recovery. But our federal, state, and local partners are working around the clock to help all of those who have been impacted by this disaster.
Anticipated on Monday, a visit from U.S. President Joe Biden, accompanied by his wife Jill, underscores the gravity of the situation. President Biden's swift declaration of a major disaster in Hawaii, subsequent to last week's devastating inferno, facilitated the mobilization of federal emergency assistance to the region. The Department of Foreign Affairs confirmed that one of the casualties in the devastating wildfires that tore through the Hawaiian coastal town of Lahaina was an elderly American citizen with Filipino heritage. DFA Undersecretary Jose Eduardo de Vega identified the victim as 79-year-old Alfredo Galinato. In a poignant twist, Galinato's son Joshua shared a heart-rending video on Instagram to convey the heart-wrenching moment they learned of their father's tragic fate due to the wildfire.
Yeah, sorry. Say we've located your father. We don't know exactly the location that he was located, but he was deceased. I'm sorry for your loss.
Sorry.
Hmm?
So,
Yes. Found him. Found him. Yes.
Was he? There's no corpse or
No,
there's bones.
Yes.
There's bones.
Yes. I'm sorry for your loss, brother.
Notably, the DFA referred to the 2020 U.S. state census, revealing that approximately 388,000 individuals residing in Hawaii acknowledge Filipino ancestry. Among them, around 200,000 have both Filipino parents, but only 16% hold Philippine passports. With the blaze's death toll already reaching 111 individuals as of August 18, the numbers are expected to rise as search and rescue operations persist. A significant wildfire has erupted in the Northwest Territories of Canada, posing a direct threat to the capital city and prompting the urgent evacuation of thousands. Remarkably, the blaze is just one among an alarming count of over 1,000 fires currently ravaging various parts of Canada. Furthermore, the far-reaching consequences of this inferno extend beyond national borders. The thick plumes of smoke generated by these fires are significantly impacting the quality in the neighboring states of the U.S. Let's turn to Thomas Eyelikeness, reporting directly from Canada. Thomas.
The worst of the fires are in British Columbia, where the province's Premier, David Eby, has declared a province-wide state of emergency.
In just the last hour, we've gone from about 4,500 homes under evacuation to about 15,000 homes, families being evacuated from their homes across the province.
Another 20,000 people are under an evacuation alert and may have to leave on short notice. Eby is pleading with people to stay away from regions where the fires are burning.
Please don't travel to affected areas. Only essential travel. We need roads clear for first responders, for emergency crews, for evacuees.
In southern BC, the inferno has destroyed several homes and other buildings in the city of West Kelowna. And there's bad news for the region in this weekend's forecast. More lightning is expected, along with temperatures in the mid to high 20s Celsius. Emergency Management Minister Bowen Ma says the province wants to make sure firefighters have what they need to battle the flames. She says the emergency declaration means the province can compel resources from uncooperative partners. Ma says so far cooperation has been excellent.
But given the rapidly evolving situation that we now find ourselves in, we can foresee some of those extraordinary orders that may be helpful to us in our response, and we want to be ready to be able to use them at a moment's notice.
Meanwhile, in northern Canada, the evacuation of Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories is nearly complete. Most of the city's 20,000 residents have left. Only about 1,600 people remain in the city, and they're being urged to leave as soon as possible. Mayor Rebecca Alty says even if the flames don't reach the city, the air quality from the smoke is so bad, people put themselves at risk if they remain. On Friday, cooler temperatures helped crews to hold the fire at bay. The blaze is about 15 kilometers from the city limits. The next few weeks will be full of uncertainty for thousands of people in BC and northern Canada as they wait to see when they can return to their communities, and when they do, whether they still have a home. Thomas Eyelikeness, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In an impressive display of solidarity, the leaders of the U.S., Japan, and South Korea convened at Camp David, marking a significant moment of unity and cooperation. President Joe Biden's summit with the leaders of these Asian allies ushers in what they collectively describe as a new chapter in their closely knit security alliance. Despite China's increasing assertiveness on multiple fronts, both at home and within the Asian region under President Xi Jinping's leadership, including significant military activities near Taiwan, President Biden underscored that the summit isn't intended to single out China.
I'll just say this summit was not about China. That was not the purpose of the meeting, but it did come. China obviously came up. Not to say we don't share concerns about the economic coercion or heightened tensions caused by China, but this summit was really about our relationship with each other and deepening cooperation across an entire range of issues that went well beyond just the immediate issues we raised. It was about more peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific, a region, quite frankly, that would benefit everyone living there and around the world if we get it right. It's not just here. It has a phenomenal impact.
However, the joint statement issued by the three leaders highlights their shared opposition to what they deem as China's dangerous and aggressive behavior in maritime disputes.
Moreover, Korea, the U.S., and Japan, in their pursuit of Indo-Pacific strategies, oppose any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force. Respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, the peaceful settlement of disputes, among others, undergird a rules-based international order that we resolve to safeguard by intensifying our collaboration. As part of such endeavors, our three nations agreed to support ASEAN and Pacific Island countries with their maritime security capacity building efforts.
The statement firmly states their stance against any unilateral attempts to disrupt the status quo in the Indo-Pacific waters.
We also agreed to work together through the Indo-Pacific dialogue and the development of cooperation to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific, and in particular to coordinate capacity building support in the domain of maritime security, particularly with regard to ASEAN and Pacific Island countries.
Since last summer, we've met on the margins of the NATO summit in Spain, the ASEAN summit in Cambodia, and the G7 summit in Japan. Today, we've made history with the first ever standalone summit between the leaders of our three countries. First, we're elevating our trilateral defense collaboration to deliver an Indo-Pacific region that includes launching annual multi-domain military exercises, bringing our trilateral defense cooperation to unprecedented levels. And today, we've all reaffirmed our shared commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits and addressing economic coercion. Together, we're going to stand up for international law, freedom of navigation, and the peaceful resolution of disputes in the South China Sea.
This alignment among the United States, Japan, and South Korea, who collectively host approximately 84,500 U.S. troops, signifies a milestone in international relations. The very notion of such a summit would have been improbable in the past due to the historical complexities stemming from Japan's occupation of the Korean Peninsula from 1910 to 1945. In tonight's other news, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will visit the Philippines from September 7 to 8 to strengthen economic and defense cooperation between the two countries. The visit, which was confirmed by the Presidential Communications Office on Friday, will be Albanese's first to the Philippines since becoming Prime Minister in May. During the visit, Albanese will meet with President Marcos Jr. to discuss ways to boost trade and investment, as well as to strengthen cooperation on defense and security issues. The two leaders are also expected to discuss the South China Sea, where both countries have overlapping claims. The visit comes after a series of high-level meetings between the Philippines and Australia in recent months. In May, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong visited Manila and met with President Marcos to discuss ways to strengthen the bilateral relationship. In June, the two countries held joint naval exercises in Zambales. In tonight's other news, the World Health Organization inaugurated its inaugural summit on traditional medicine, with the organization expressing its intention to gather substantial evidence and data aimed at ensuring the secure use of these treatment practices. Rosel Feria reports.
For millions of people worldwide, traditional medicines are the treatment of choice. but some question their value. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says they want to find out what really works.
Traditional medicine is old as humanity itself. Throughout history, people in all countries and cultures have used traditional healers, home remedies, and ancient medicinal knowledge to meet their needs for health and well-being.
And that it's important to understand what ingredients are actually in traditional medicines, why they work in some cases, and how we can improve their use. And importantly, we need to understand and identify which traditional medicines don't work.
Traditional medicine has its critics. Conservationists say it drives a rampant trade in endangered animals, including tigers and rhinos, threatening the existence of entire species. The summit is set to become a regular event.
Traditional medicine also has own advantage because they have such a holistic concept and approach to the health. That's why traditional medicine can actually much to offer in health promotion, disease prevention, as well as managing of lifestyle-related non-communicable diseases. So many systems of traditional medicine having such a holistic approach. They look at the person as a whole and not only look at the physical condition, but also mental, psychological, and social well-being as well. And also we believe that our health is connected with the environment. That's why I think it's more towards the one health, one planet concept.
This paradigm shift that's needed or that's come about in healthcare has three elements. One, it's about people. Two, it's about connecting within ourselves, with our societies and our environments. And three, it's about what we trust, what information we trust so that we can make those decisions. But science is our most reliable compass towards health and well-being. Joining that with this basis of traditional medicine and taking the strengths of both is really a historic, game-changing pathway towards planetary health and well-being.
The scientific basis of traditional medicine is quite mixed. On one side, we have quite scientifically proven interventions, things like artemisinin, that have been taken from a traditional medicine, a traditional brew, made into a tablet, tested, and is one of our mainstreams of treatment against malaria. And we know all about its mechanism, we know all about its safety and efficacy. On the other side, though, we have many traditional interventions which are very empirical. They've been observed over many, many years, and people think they work. But I think the important thing is to move from the empirical basis of the traditional medicine to proof of efficacy and safety in terms of turning it into a credible intervention and a credible treatment that we can put forward. And this means standardizing and looking at how we can do trials and how we can really create the evidence to put it alongside any other intervention, whether that's pharmaceutical or maybe physically based interventions.
Roselle Ferrier, Washington, D.C. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
As summer temperatures surge, Japanese businesses are stepping up to provide relief with creative cooling solutions. From jackets with built-in fans to chilled t-shirts, companies are addressing the growing demand to combat the scorching heat. Across Japan, the intensifying heat is pushing innovation to the forefront. Amidst the global trend of rising temperatures, July 2023 marked a milestone as the warmest month in a century. Unfortunately, this record warmth claimed 53 lives due to heat stroke, while nearly 50,000 people sought emergency medical aid. One brand at the forefront of this movement is Workman, renowned for crafting garments for construction workers. Sensing the escalating demand, the company adapted their fan-equipped jackets for broader use in 2020. This ingenious solution is straightforward. Two compact, rechargeable battery-powered fans are seamlessly incorporated into the jacket's back. These fans draw in air, generating a refreshing breeze that can be adjusted to various speeds, providing a welcome reprieve for wearers enduring sweltering temperatures.
こちらはバッテリー
充電式のバッテリーを使用して、またファンがありますので、そちらをつなぐことによって風を送り込んで体の中に風が流れて涼しさを感じるという製品になっています。
These fan-fitted jackets retail for prices ranging from 12,000 to 24,000 yen, offering consumers a range of options to stay cool.
2019年に環境省がですね、男性でも熱中症対策をした方がいいということで、外で出歩くときにやはり直射日光が当たってしまうので、日傘を差しましょうということで推奨したのが始まりです。
Tokyo, a city accustomed to hot and humid summers, faced a particularly scorching July. The average temperature soared to 28.7 degrees Celsius or 83.7 degrees Fahrenheit, marking the highest recorded temperature since 1875. Heat stroke's impact is deeply felt in Japan, a country boasting the second oldest population globally, trailing only Monaco. Senior citizens are especially vulnerable, accounting for over 80% of heat-related fatalities within the past 5 years. As Japanese firms step up to provide innovative solutions to cope with the rising heat waves, it's clear that addressing this challenge is more crucial than ever. As always, I'll end the day on a thoughtful note. Our ability to look back and smile at our past is proof that God's plan is to keep us moving forward. This has been Eagle News International. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay alert, stay informed, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.